Yeah, good evening once again. So I'll just set the context, right? So this room is filled with one side experienced investors, another side also people who are doing angel investments or rather trying to get into angel investments for the first time. So what we thought is to continue or rather uncontinue the damage that Chandu sir has done on angel investments. We'll also have some eminent investors speak to you on what angel investing is all about. So I hope you're all geared up. We are here having at least about 25-30, I would say HNIs, no, but probably businessmen who are looking at angel investing for the first time, right? So like everybody, and like Chandu Nair sir said, everyone's apprehensive, right? And why this asset class? Why we need to do this? Is it really an investment or we are just throwing away the money? Instead of this, I can give it to a friend or a family, right? Just I can forget about it, write it off as charity. இது ஏன் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்ற ஒரு basic question வருது. Here we have a collection of gentlemen, one of them who's heading a family office, putting family office money into angel investments, another an entrepreneur, third also a businessman who's actively angel investing, a fourth who's almost like Chandu sir, an experienced angel investor, serial investor, right? So I'll like to first all of you to spend about a couple of minutes why angel investing as for novices in angel investment. I'll start with Devanand sir.
Good evening to all. Thanks for this opportunity. From an like family office is concerned, like see there was three things when we really wanted to get into a startup investments. First thing is when an organization goes, a lot of compliances comes into place. Then your risk ability reduces, agility of the organization reduces. So we were thinking like what is the way like we can be still active, open to new ideas without risking the compliances aspect of the founders. And second thing is like we were also wanted to see that like how we can build our funnel for our existing businesses. So we were into an auto finance, we were into an insurance broking, we were into an end customer disruptions. So we were thinking like how we can broaden the space where this funnel can be made. That's why we started getting into an investments into mobilities. We got investments into EV space so that like the spectrum or like funnel we are able to make it bigger, and if not today down the line it will be a bigger advantage. Third thing is always like something giving back to the society also. So once like my founders became so successful, there was a thought like how we can also participate into a community building exercise. So once we do a lot of community activities, and we thought this also one of our activity.
Thank you Devanand sir. Over to you Nishanth. Nishanth, you've been a successful entrepreneur, parallelly been angel investing as well. Your thoughts to first time angel investors who want to look at this?
Yeah, so the way I see angel investing is, it is a high risk, high returns game. So more wearing an investor hat. So I've been an entrepreneur, I've raised money, I've exited a company, then I started another one, then we raised hundreds of crores. So my experience is if there is, like I think Mr. Nair said, maybe 5% of 10% should be what I started investing. And it's generally like, only when you invest in 10 or 15 startups, you will start seeing the risk getting divided and returns coming. So that was my personal experience. And it completely depends on, how you look at the business. So I generally have been passionate about anything which is disruptive, which is like a painkiller and not a vitamin business. Like if it solves a real problem, if it is easy to understand, the business has a potential to scale multiple. So these are some things I generally look at. And out of, I think 14 or 15 investments, I would say 3 have done well, the rest have not. But overall perspective, when the 3 actually, covers quite a lot on the other side. So that's a high risk, high return is the way I put it in my personal experience.
Thank you. So Kaushik sir, you run a business of your own, you can introduce yourself, and also you're active with Native Angels. Now, last season we saw you a lot on Startup Singam as well. So, a typical businessman who's running a profitable business, why would they want to put a money on a loss-making company? What is the rationale behind your thinking, if you can share?
I think the loss-making company வார்த்தை வந்து எனக்கு தெரியல. Chandu sir said, right.
But early stage you burn, right? There's no other.
Obviously we burn. Yeah. The thing is, right, and the percentage பார்க்கணும். Right, generally, நான் மனசுல வச்சிருக்கிறது. நான் உள்ள வரும்போது about 7 years back when I entered angel investing, அதெல்லாம் சொன்ன பாயிண்ட் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஜென்ரலாக இது யூஎஸ் ஸ்டாட்டிஸ்டிக்ஸ் சொன்னாங்க, பட் there is no backup for that. 10 கம்பெனியில் இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணாக்க 4 கம்பெனி காணாமல் போயிடும், 2 கம்பெனி இன்றைக்கோ நாளைக்கோ இருக்கும், மிச்சம் 4 கம்பெனியில் ஒரு கம்பெனியில் 10x வந்தாலே போட்ட காசு எடுத்துரும், மிச்சம் 3 கம்பெனியில் வாட் எவர் யூ கெட் தட் இஸ் யுவர் ப்ராஃபிட். தட் வாஸ் ஏ செட். இப்போ நான் ஹவ் டன் அபவுட் 17 இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட்ஸ், அதில் ஒன்று தான் வந்து ஐ காட் எக்ஸிட். இட்ஸ் அ சென்னை பேஸ்ட் கம்பெனி, எக்ஸிட் வாங்கியிருக்கேன். லெஸ் தென் 3 years, 2 years 7 months ஐ காட் அபவுட் 2.4x, பட் தட்ஸ் லெஸ், பட் ஸ்டில் அட்ஸ் ஓகே ரைட் அந்த ஆங்கிளில். பட் அதர்வைஸ் மற்ற கம்பெனிஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா வேல்யூவேஷன் ஏறி இருக்கு. ஐ ஹவ் நாட் காட் மை எக்ஸிட் ரைட், பட் த வேல்யூவேஷன் இஸ் இன்க்ரீஸ்ட். இன்னொன்று ஒய் ஏஞ்சல் இன்வெஸ்டிங் அப்படிங்கிற பாயிண்டில் வந்து இப்போ சந்து சார் சொன்ன ஒரு பாயிண்ட் தான் சோஷியல். இது யூ டேக் இட் ரைட். இப்போ எனி பிக் கம்பெனி யூ டேக் ரைட் நவ், ஆப்பிளாக இருக்கட்டும், கூகுளாக இருக்கட்டும், மைக்ரோசாஃப்டாக இருக்கட்டும், வாட்ஸ்அப்பாக இருக்கட்டும், ரைட், எனிதிங், லிங்க்டின், எதாவது வேணா இருக்கட்டும், வை எவ்ரிதிங் இஸ் அமெரிக்கன்? Because they have an ecosystem, and it is high time we build an ecosystem in India, and that can be built with startup investing. That is one point. Another important point that I cherish is learning. நம்ம நிறைய ஸ்டார்ட் அப் பார்க்குறோம். இன்னொன்று, we don't invest in regular companies, right? We have a set of principles. ஒன்று ஹை ரிட்டர்ன்ஸ் இருக்கணும், இல்லை ஹை மார்ஜின் இருக்கணும். ஸோ அதில் அந்த ஐடியாஸ் எல்லாமே டிஃப்ரெண்ட்டாக இருக்கும். அதில் நிறைய விட்ட பேச we mentor also. We mentor and we listen to pitches. அதில் நமக்கு நிறைய ஐடியா கிடைக்குது that you can use it for your own business. So I would strongly say people who are doing business, you can come listen to the pitches. You will take a lot of ideas inside. That'll help you out in your business also.
Absolutely. So I think looking at other businesses, you will get inspired for your own business, that's for sure. Chandrashekhar sir, I heard Chandrashekhar sir's masterclass on angel investing. I felt that was maybe one of the best I've sat through. You know quite a bit on angel investing, having been in this journey.
Vanakkam, first of all, thanks a lot. And I've got some amazing friends here and also people whom I look up to. So, Bala and Sona, rumba adi vata kuttu vaangirkendrar. Okay, that's what he's trying to say. I think angel investment is something which is always exciting, and I'm a proof of it. I'll tell you why. I started the angel investment 7 years back. And in the 7 years, I've done almost more than 70 startups investment. I've also invested in 10 funds, and I now run my own fund for the last 3.5 years. So when I began the journey, I was filled with excitement as well as hesitation, because startup success is rarely immediate. This is therinja vishayam. This is not given. But then I think what is excitement for us is, as someone also said, you're looking at businesses which are very disruptive. புதுமையா இருக்கு. அது கேட்கும் போதே ரொம்ப ஆச்சரியமா இருக்கு, இப்படி கூட பண்ணலாமான்னு சொல்லி. So I think that is very, very exciting. More importantly, I think there are certain principles that we need to know. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. So I think there's a lot of patience, that one needs to develop inside to say that I'm going to become better in the art of investment. So சில ஸ்டார்ட்அப்ஸ் நம்ம ஃபெயில் ஆகிருக்கலாம், பட் இட் இஸ் ஒன்லி அ லேர்னிங். ஸோ நான் எப்பயுமே சொல்லுவேன், ஏஞ்சல் இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட் இஸ் எக்ஸ்பென்சிவ் டியூஷன் ஃபீ. ஸோ ஐ திங்க் வாட் இஸ் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் இன் திஸ் கேம் இஸ் தட் am I becoming better in this art of investment? And if I have to add, because we also spoke about this, there is this power law. Chandu Nair sir ரொம்ப அழகாக அதை காமிச்சார், power law book. It's by Sebastian Mallaby, and he says that it's a smaller number of investments that generate majority of the returns. Full stop. அவ்வளோதான் அது. ஸோ நான் இதை ஜோக்காக சொல்ல போனோன்னா, I've invested in many startups. One win can take away all my sins. So it's a question of, how will you become better in this art of investment? So I would urge, you're all amazing business people, to definitely look at this asset class. Thank you for saying that, Bala, in the beginning. It's an asset class. Or pile of idhu or section where, I need to invest. Probably what we need to do is maybe, have a network of people with whom we can invest together. Don't invest lonely, so that we are much better in this art of understanding how to even appreciate the whole world of investing in startups.
Thank you, Chandrashekhar sir. Sir, I'll come back to you, Devanand sir. Sir, many of businessmen who are successful, right? They put together a corpus and they start investing in real estate, gold, SIPs, and so on and so forth, right? And at some stage, they set up family offices, right? You are part of a successful family office. What's the evolution process that successful business houses take and go on to a family office? And in that, startups, what do you advise people sitting here? How do you bring in startups in that mix of investment?
See, our family office comes within 3 decades of business. So one thing we strongly believe is sometimes when people talk about growing with about 100 times year on year, we get afraid. Because practically, if somebody is working on 100 times year on year, without focusing on a bottom line, it is sure to fail. That's what we strongly believe running in 3 decades of operations. Now, when actually what happens is when the next generation comes into play, then they really don't want to purely be into a strategic or purely be into a slow running of business. They want an adrenaline. That's why it also happened with our family office, like my bosses were running in operations for 3 decades. The next generation came in. He was seeing like this is all boresome work. He wanted to have something more. He wanted to be like more active, more frontline. That's how like we started this family offices, frankly. But when we started, as I said in the beginning, like we had few underlining theories. Like we wanted to first focus on purely businesses which will help us in broadening our base. But later on, like when we moved on with the companies to companies, we had a lot to learn from other pitches. Like probably like in season 1, we would have spent about roughly around 3 to 4 hours a day for at least 20 days to 30 days and listening to various pitches. But believe me, those listening to those pitches has given us ideas to run for 1 year in our own businesses. That's the one thing which we have really learned. And there were so many technicalities which we were like, the end after season 1 and the beginning of the pitches of season 2, like we were being able to, you ask any question about any businesses, probably we were in a position to answer now. That is a kind of a wider thing, like master of all, or wider thing which we have really got into it. So anybody who would like to come into this, see, it's very clear. Please have a patience for 7 to 8 years, because like Chandu sir said, like angel investing is something like you don't get a quick exit. But if you are from a traditional business family, then you know that a slow burn is important. So be there for 7-8 years. What big thing you can bring into a angel investment is a cash flow management. I always believe that 90% of the startup fails not because of ideas, not because of founders' perspective, not because of the market or things. They fail because they doesn't know how to manage the cash flow. So if this is the place which, as a traditional business people, when you come into a angel investment, there's a strength which you can give it to new startups. So that will have a lot of value addition to them also, and be with them. Like of course, most of the people may not want you to interfere into the day-to-day operations, but sit them as a board member, evaluate them once in fortnight or once in a month. Just check whether they are completely onto the path, whatever they are talking about. Give your advices. End of the day, if they take it, it's well and good for our investment. If they are not taking it, sorry, we can only have our grudges. So I think that's a thing which we can talk about startups.
Thank you. I think adding more value than money is what Devanand sir is talking about. Kaushik sir, everybody has filters that they put on how they shortlist a startup. What's been your favorite filters?
First thing is, as I said before, it should give high returns. I mean, in the sense, right, ஒன்று வந்து high margin இருக்கணும், இல்லைன்னா high scalability இருக்கணும். So this is 2 things that we look at. Plus, we have little principles. முடிஞ்ச அளவுக்கு the company should be asset light. Okay. So we see that on the journey, the companies who are asset light are growing more. So அந்த சில principles இருக்குங்க. Plus promoter-ஓட அந்த CEO mentality, அதில் மிஸ் பண்ணதும் இருக்குது. Like there is one company where the CEO was excellent. You tell him to come to the stage, மைக்கே தேவையில்லை, பயங்கரமாக பேசுவார், எக்ஸலன்ட் CEO மெட்டீரியல். பட் ஆனால் டெலிவரபிள்ஸில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னாக்க இஸ் லேக்கிங். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி, பட் அல்டிமேட்லி வி லுக் அட் த ஐடியா. பட் அதுக்கு மேலே அந்த ஐடியாவில் அந்த சேஞ்சஸ் இருக்குது. நதர் திங் சார் சந்து சார் சொன்னார், அந்த ஸ்டபர்ன் கேரக்டர் இருந்தால் கண்டிப்பாக போகவே கூடாது. ரைட், we are mentors, we mentor them, right? We have also put money, we are interested in the company. So on the flexibility kandipa irukano. So any promoter who has flexibility, very good idea, which can be scalable.
So that's an interesting thought. So my question next was to Nishanth around that only. Nishanth, you've been on both sides, like as an entrepreneur and as an investor. What's your advice to upcoming angels on what to expect and how to manage the relationship with a founder in case they go ahead and invest?
See, I think for me, the first fundamental thing, like everyone said, is the founder's mindset. All right. So you need to spend some time. You need to evaluate whether they have clarity on the idea. Because sometimes when I see founders, I think the numbers were presented, the X number of deals, and fraction of the deals are funded. So why is that happening is that founder mindset is very important. So the clarity of thought is what I first look at. The second is how well defined they know the problem. Many times what happens is I come across founders where they don't understand the problem. They don't understand what the solution is. And then in the business, another problem I always see is too much of optimization without scale. So that means they keep on optimizing, they don't go to market, they don't get customer feedback. There are some things in our industry, it's called PMF, which is product market fit. So எந்த ஸ்டேஜில் இருக்காங்கன்றது is very, very important. If you are funding a company, whether they are in product stage, pre-revenue stage, they got some traction from customers, what is the CAC to LTV, which is how much they are spending on marketing and how much they are getting on returns, like he said, the margins. So all of these things are there. But if you ask me, 75% of the time, it is the person which matters. 25% of the time, the idea should be, it should be like a blue ocean idea. It shouldn't be like, okay, I'm going to launch, I don't know, let's say a washing machine brand competing with Samsung. If somebody is pitching today, I would probably say it's a very difficult space to operate, right? Because you are sitting and competing with someone with economies of scale. So what is that USP? What is the gap you have? That is the remaining 25%. Why I am putting 25%? Let's say somebody is there who has identified a great idea. Sometimes he might not be the great guy to execute. But let's say the other way around, you fund the entrepreneur, that idea is not working out, but the person will be able to pivot or move on there. So your chances of success becomes much higher. So this is what I do. And I also invested in a couple of funds which, again, they fund the thing. And also these kind of consortiums like Startup Singam is always the better thing, because when you collectively write a check, there is a big advantage than you writing an independent check. And the second is the power of due diligence, which comes from agencies like this, plays a big role. And the third is, this is a great platform. Like, for example, Startup Singam is a great platform where they are also getting publicity, they are also getting marketing. So in some ways, the marketing cost is also taken care. So it's a win-win-win for all of them. So this is, I think these are platforms which actually move the needle for the investor as well as for them. And I would always look at 75% the founder mindset, the clarity of thought.
Thanks, Nishanth. So I'll take a 2 minutes on Startup Singam. See, not that there are not enough investment platforms. Yes, we are also another investment platform, but we add a X factor to the whole thing, which is actually the Tamil Nadu viewers, right? So people who come on to our show have seen anywhere between 5 to 10x growth in sales just by the time of TV episode going, and then the PFMF happens and then they accelerate. In fact, the growth in sales was so much that one person came back and said, actually, now I don't need investment, right? So that's the ideal thing that we want. So I think one of the things that, before I move on to the question, I'll bring Chandrashekhar sir here. And so, sir, you've seen Startup Singam from outside first season, and this season you've got on board already selecting startups. So what are you looking forward to from season 2?
So Bala, first of all, thank you for bringing me in. So I'm the new kid on the block, when it comes to Startup Singam. But trust me, I think your season 1 has done magic. Because the effort that you have put, for the season 2, what I'm seeing is that at the moment I'm able to see an ecosystem that is much more mature. So thanks to you guys. I think the way, you have done the curation process to shortlist the startups, and the way, you have also engaged a team which can come up with an investor readiness report is something that is very fascinating. Plus, you already are doing a due diligence and also helping HNIs even to understand how we can come and invest. I think this is fabulous. A big round of applause to this team, guys. So what that has done to me, because I wasn't sure in terms of, as a fund, how I can invest, in the startups, because I am obligated, to make my investment committee even understand, whether the startup is ready for funding. But then what it has done to me is that, one, as I said, I think the way the startups were curated, that has given us significant confidence. But let me tell you this. the founders whom I have met, when I came into the selection that you had, I think they are not just stronger, but I think, they're also brilliant in terms of converting the idea into execution. So what I liked about the fact is that the focus that you guys have to ensure that it's not just an idea, but how well they can execute, because I always say that it is not in the power of idea that success lies, it is always in the power of execution. And execution tenacity is one mantra, that we've always believed in whenever we're investing. But I think more than that, what I'm seeing also as an added advantage, in the whole Startup Singam situation at the moment is that I think you guys are also able to bring mentorship. You guys are also able to bring them the ecosystem support, the supporting, partner ecosystem. I think that's again brilliant. Because some of the founders to whom I spoke, when they were able to refer that, hey, sir, in the support gave me greater confidence that more than us mentoring also, there is already a support system. I always say that that's the oxygen that is first required for them to survive, have a life. I think you have done that very brilliantly. If I have to add much more to this, I think the way we are evaluating now is we are looking at the execution tenacity, because now we know that that idea has got weight in it. Second, what we're looking at is in terms of the founders' ability, to also ensure that they are building a good network. Because fundraise is something, that happens, only when you're able to, build a, good network. But because you're also networking with the mentor community, I'm pretty sure the market access, the GTM strategy is going to be much more better. And finally, if I have to add one more, I think I've also seen this guy is able to build the team. So I think there is something that is, happening much more beautifully this time in terms of the play, in terms of how to have a stronger, credentials also. So hats off to you guys on that.
Thank you, Chandrashekhar sir. Nothing more heartwarming than hearing it from you as a seasoned investor. So I'll take a 2 minutes.
As you know, they're also investing, Bala. So, that's the proof.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. So I'll take a 2 minutes for people who are coming into as HNI investors. See, we have about 12,000 registered startups in Tamil Nadu. A staggering 3,000 of them have applied in season 2, right? So just for season 2, 3,000 applications. Rounds of round of applause, please. So that's also because of the fact that startups have started trusting Startup Singam, saying that it's the right platform for us to be in. We want to be seen in this platform. Not only deals happen, but I also get visibility and traction for my business. So this is a huge value add that's there. Now, all said and done, when we receive 3,000 applications, what do? We don't do anything in terms of shortlisting, right? We have, like Chandrashekhar sir, we have empaneled about 20 early stage VCs and angel networks who all have analysts. So they have their own filters. So they sit together and actually choose that these are the startups I want. And they actually bring this 3,000 down to currently about 75 startups who are finalists. Now, what you get as an HNI who wants to get into angel investing is that you get a shot at somebody who's already used his experience and filtered those to bring a curated set of deals, and also saying that I'll put a check and you're co-investing. So that's where you cut all the theory of Chandu Nair sir and actually go on to ride on his people like him and Chandrashekhar sir's experience into angel investing. So that's the process I wanted to drive home, that you are not alone, you're co-investing, number one. Second, there is a process in place which curates deals through the expert eyes and analysts. Third is, putting the check is one, but the entire process of how you do the post-deal due diligence, and then your paperwork and getting your share certificates and follow-up, and down to the round of even finding exits, right? So when you invest as a group, for you doing that whole process becomes more simple. So that's where Startup Singam comes in. I'll now ask Devanand sir. Devanand sir, you've been active part of season 1, and your wish list for season 2 and what you're looking forward to in season 2.
So we have been part of season 1, and like season 1, there were few learnings from season 1, like as initial days after, like even giving a commitments onto the TV. Still, like what we saw in last 8 months is most of the founders could not complete their paperwork. Like as Sir rightly said, like 55 CR was committed onto the screen, but only the 25 CR has got invested. It's not purely because investor did not back it up. It's purely founders could not submit the paperwork on time, and they were not ready to understand the papers involved or due diligence involved in completing it and going and taking a check. But in season 2, what like initial days, like when it was said, like what we could see a bigger difference is that, like, first thing is that, like, there was a platform given to us wherein, like, we were able to analyze which are the companies which will suit our investment theory. So we were able to have a different pull-down menus wherein, like, which industry suits us, whether we are in deep tech or we are in mobility or we are in bio. Whichever industry we want to choose, we were able to choose that. Then we were able to have a complete 2-pager write-ups about that particular startup with having all basic links to their websites and other details, and also a granular number about their financial numbers. Then, like, once we were able to shortlist that, we were having at least 2 rounds of meetings with the group meetings with an interested investors around, and every investor asking from their perspective questions. Somebody would be having a lot of questions on technology, somebody having a questions onto the financials, somebody would be having a questions onto a marketability. So we had a kind of 4-5 investors who would be asking from a different perspectives. So overall, like, we were able to judge whether it is right to enter into this companies or not. And the third thing is, we also had whichever company we had an interest, we had one round of meetings with that founders onto a detailed discussion with regard to, like, whatever doubts we were having. Then the last time, like, there was an event at Express Avenue. That was a beautiful thing, like, wherein, like, almost all the shortlisted startups were available for one-to-one meeting. Again, we had a lot of discussions with them. Numbers have been discussed. So based on all these things, we ourselves have shortlisted close to about 8 to 9 companies where we want to invest. That became the one of the process this time. Like, it has given us a confidence to get in more aggressively. And again, I'm talking about the first set of round, and second set of round is yet to happen onto it. And second, we also have a kind of ecosystem wherein, like, most of the time, like, Nativelead comes and says that, like, Sriram sir or Kaushik sir will come and say, like, Dev, I'm investing in this company, so I want you to look into these companies. So that also gives us a confidence, like, okay, like, there isn't somebody who has already taken a bet, let's also be a part of it. So this is a kind of a new thing which has happened with an entire environment, what Startup Singam Season 2 has brought in, with all the learnings from Season 1.
Thank you. Thank you, Devanand sir. So what we also have done is, see, you see the show on screen for 6 months, but there's a lot of 6 months of effort that goes into, right from application stage to final listing stage. That's what Devanand sir had put together. Kaushik sir also, what are you looking forward to from Season 2, sir?
Sir, as usual, good deals, right?
High margin, high scalability.
Obviously, sir. நம்ம பொட்டி கடையிலையோ ரைட் ஹோட்டல் கடையிலையோ போட போகிறதில்ல.
சார் ஸ்டார்ட் அப் சிங்கம்ல என்ன எதிர்பார்க்குறீங்க பிளாட்ஃபார்ம்ல இருந்து?
So the thing is, better companies this time, sir. Even last time it is good, right? Sir சொன்ன மாதிரி வந்து அந்த கம்ப்ளைன்ஸ்ல தான் மிஸ் ஆயிடுச்சு. இதில் என்னன்னா எங்களுக்கும் கன்ஃபியூஷன் சார். இப்போ என்னன்னா we have committed. எனக்கு கம்ப்ளைன்ஸ் எப்போ முடியும்னு எனக்கு தெரியல. So that is the issue.
So this time we have done a deeper due diligence. So I am getting one of the pre-due diligence reports to be put up on the screen. So in the deals எல்லாம் பார்த்திருப்பீங்க in the season we have gone through a deeper due diligence of 60 data points. And other one, I think hopefully we will be able to screen better is what we think. So that's also a learning from the first season which we have
obviously
taken.
இன்னொன்று என்னன்னா எங்களுக்கு அந்த டைம் ஃப்ரேம் ரைட். இப்போ என்னன்னா எனக்கு எப்போ இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட் வருதுன்னே தெரியல. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் நான் ஏற்கனவே கமிட் பண்ணதில்ல ஸ்டார்ட் அப் சிங்கம்ல என்ன 2 இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட் இன்னும் வராமல் இருக்கு. ஸோ இப்போ எப்போ இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட் வருதுன்னு எனக்கு தெரியல. ஸோ இப்போ நான் மற்ற டீலில் கமிட் பண்ணுறதா இல்லை உங்களுக்காக வெயிட் பண்ணுறதா, ஸோ அந்த டைம் ஃப்ரேம் கொடுத்துட்டா கொஞ்சம் ஈஸியாக இருக்கும்
சார். அது டியூ டிலிஜென்ஸ் சரியாயிடுச்சுனாலே நம்ம டக்குன்னு முடிச்சிடலாம் சார்.
ஸோ ஃபெப்ரவரி
பேப்பர் ஒர்க்னால தான், லைக் சார் பாயிண்டட் அவுட், லாஸ்ட் சீசன் there was this gap. This season hopefully we will get closer. So from 54 to 25 crores will be a 50% deployment. Next season we will look at a minimum 75% deployment to what is committed on stage. So that's our promise from our side.
இன்னொன்று ஸ்டார்ட் அப் சிங்கம் பற்றி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இதுக்கு முன்னாடி எங்களுக்கு வந்து டீல்ஸ் எல்லாமே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இட் கேம் த்ரூ ஸ்டார்ட் அப் தமிழ்நாடு. நிறைய அந்த காலேஜில் இன்குபேஷன் சென்டர்ஸ் இருக்கும், அங்கே இருந்தெல்லாம் போய் பிடிச்சி ஃபில்டர் பண்ணி ஒரு 10,000-15,000 ஸ்டார்ட் அப் இருக்கும். அதுலேருந்து நெருக்கி கிறுக்கி தே பிரிங் இட் அபவுட் 20 or 30. From there we pick up 2-3. So now Startup Singam has taken up that responsibility. So you guys are bringing in that thing. So it is more easy for us to invest.
Absolutely.
Plus அந்த co-investment வந்து இப்போ bigger scale. Generally, in Nativelead, we do about 1 to 1.5 crore. So if the ask is more, so in the joint investment, it makes it more easier. So Startup Singam is a easy platform.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So we are just going to put up the pre-DD report now for the prospective angels to see. Can I have the pre-DD report, please? There are about 60 data points in every startup that we look to curate. So the 60 data points are shared with the analysts of each of the early stage investors who are there with us, empaneled with us, and they choose from this based on the data points, right? This is Robonetics. So these are the data points that are coming. You can run through who was on the system. So you have a complete summary. This is apart from the deck, what has been evaluated on the startups and has been taken and has been suggested in terms of data points, compliances, risk summary, ratios, financial summary, debt asset ratios, equity ratio. So all the ratios here. So people who are interested in finance, they have most of the stuff here. Cost structure, what is their P&L, how is their expense tax. This gives the business logic and the business DD behind it. Marketing, other costs that are part of their cost structure. This is compliance, the GST returns, compliances, statutory compliances, if any others. Working capital analysis, which sir was saying, how cash is very important for a startup, right? So these are the kind of, this is the kind of pre-DD report this year we have put together for this season. So with this help, we have been able to, the analysts of the investors have been able to shortlist the 75 companies. And going forward, we hope that the percentage of conversion in this season, hopefully, will be much better than last season, sir. It's all a collective learning, so thanks for your inputs to make this happen. Nishanth, I'll end with you with the last question. So Nishanth is first time now on Startup Singam. Welcome on board season 2, Nishanth. And
Thank you.
We're looking forward to you as a sharp entrepreneur and somebody who's been also angel investing. What are you looking forward to from season 2, and a word of encouragement for all the other HNIs who would like to join the Startup Singam platform?
Yeah, I think, as I said, this brings the culmination of three things. One is, of course, the consortium of investors. Second is the due diligence support. And the third, I think, the most attractive thing itself is the platform, the reach. And since you just mentioned that இது போன சீசன் இவ்வளோ ரீச் ஆகும் நீங்களே எதிர்பார்க்கல. ஸோ இந்த சீசன் இஸ் கோயிங் டு பி மச் பிக்கர். And the biggest challenge for any startup, I'm talking from a founder, is the marketing, right? The reach, validation. So this is a win-win situation. So the investors, at least on paper, will be able to see a much higher return, in a very short period of time. And the moment the startup gets recognized, there is an exit possibility which becomes much easier and simpler. And there are also funds who are, one of the things is in whatever the investments I did, one of the things which was successful for me was wherever I co-invested along with the VC. All those things have worked well. Wherever I invested on my own have been a bit of challenge. So this is also a thing. So I'm really looking forward for something which is happening from Tamil Nadu. And hopefully even, this can go all over India, because we are sitting on a 1.3 billion people. So much of consumption is there. So much of GDP growth is there. I think India's story is great. Startup Singam story would be even better.
Thank you. Thank you, Nishanth. And with this, I'll call the curtains on the panel today. And you all have been a great panel to work with. A huge round of applause again for them.